Alright, Tyrannus here. I'm gonna do like another little detailed video about how I take care of my iguanas. I know my first one I didn't really say much or do much because that was my first video. I was a little bit out of tune. But anyways, let's just see. Now NickyBoot4 asked me how I made my cage. The easiest way I can pretty much say it is just made a frame with the pieces of wood. See, like a box. Then after that I screwed actually the pieces of plywood on the sides, and the back, and pretty much all that was left was just making the doors, which is probably one of the harder things to make. The doors, I just used screen or wire mesh. Make sure it has to be really strong because these guys can tear it up if it's weak and flimsy. But anyways, let's see. First I'm gonna just go talk about my lighting. I have 2 fixtures I put in myself. It's a 150 watt Zumet bulb and 100 watt ceramic heat emitter. Put them on top, and the fluorescent light. I know it's probably small. I should probably add a bigger one, which I will eventually. And then some nice sturdy sticks, that way they can lay on to bask, which has been working out pretty good for me. As you can see, take a step back. It's kind of hard to get it all in the shot. The bottom I just lined it with newspaper because if I've used the bark, I used coconut husk, and it just makes it really difficult to clean up. This newspaper I just layer it like 4 or 5 times because it can get kind of messy. It's just whenever they go, you just roll up the newspaper and throw it away. That's it. That's probably the easiest thing to use. My choice. This is my choice. Pretty much is what I prefer. But whatever you guys do, it's your thing. A couple things what I do as far as feeding, what I mainly feed mine are collard greens and mustard greens, and then I have a couple of things I add to their diet. I use this stuff, this Monster Diet. It's for like an adult iguana. I mix it up with all their food all the time. I use this, and I get the Repcal adult iguana food. It's been doing pretty good. These guys eat it. And it's supposed to be like really good for it's supposed to provide like the proper calcium, the phosphorus, nutrients, but I don't know, it's still kind of difficult. You can't really measure it. I just pretty much just throw a bunch of in there, and they pretty much just eat everything. These guys have really good appetite, as you've seen in probably one of my videos. Rita, she's probably my red iguana. She's a little more on the shy type, so she doesn't really like to get petted. On the other hand, Big Boy, kind of like bonded a little with him, even though kind of not the best right there. And I made a list of a couple things to give them. Like the staple greens should probably be like collard greens, mustard greens, turnip greens. You can give them cactus leaves, escarole, dandelions, watercress, butternut squash, acorn squash. All this should be probably like a staple in their diet. And occasionally you should probably give them like apples, asparagus, bananas, beets, blackberries, cabbage. One thing I'd probably never feed them would probably be like corn. It's extremely low in calcium and it's high in phosphorus. Like lettuces, it's like just really poor overall in nutrients. It's not really it doesn't help them. Broccoli, you don't want to really give them it too often. And things like if you want like for color and taste, you can give them bell peppers and tomatoes. And then there's a couple of things I've heard people giving their animals like animal protein. The reason you don't want to give them animal proteins because it contains large amounts of fats and cholesterol, and their bodies pretty much aren't made to process that kind of stuff. If you have too much, also from a diet that has too much protein, you're gonna get you're gonna get uric acid, which is deposited in the tissue and it gets crystallized, and it leads, and that eventually forms into like gout and stuff. The kidneys, they have to work harder to clean the blood and stuff, and eventually you can get to like kidney failure. It's just a bunch of really crazy stuff. These guys are mainly herbivores. You don't want to be giving them like pizza and spaghetti and stuff like that we eat, which is probably not even that good for us, but we imagine for them. But anyways, there's just a couple of things. And as far as their vitamins, I give them Repcal calcium. I don't know why I've been like all the time I hear people saying that they're iguanas, that they fall and they break an arm, and like I know I've read from like these guys, they've fallen from like trees of as high as like 40 feet, and then they can just hit the ground and just walk away, no injuries. But I know people that keep them in tanks when they're a bit small, and then they fall and then somehow they happen to break their arms. Like that's kind of crazy, but it's probably like a issue with the calcium. These guys, they fall all the time. It's kind of crazy. They're like always moving around and climbing, and they fall, hit the ground, boom, nothing's happened. Like I know Big Boy right here, he's like, I know he's got one of his nails caught somewhere, but he's fine. So like these guys are really, really hardy creatures. They shouldn't really be having any problems as far as like falling and breaking stuff. These guys, they're like little tanks. Even though they're probably gonna get 6 feet long, but really, if you're having problems with any of that, you should probably increase their calcium intake. See, other than that, yeah, these guys are shedding. I should probably give them a spray. Here, watch. Oh, give me a second. Let me just pump this up. Yeah, this is Big Boy. Let me just give him a little quick spray. Yeah, Rita's a little shy. She doesn't really like me to get that close. Alright. Well, that's these guys. Alright, thanks.